Welcome everyone to a new edition of the Uplink. My name is Travis Teague, and many of you know me from our Discord channel as Teague. I serve as developer growth lead over here at Helium Systems. And so today we're going to be speaking with Fabio Rosa, the CEO of TagoIO. And we're going to show off the new TagoIO and Helium console native integration. Many of you already know TagoIO. They've been around. I mean, you guys have been around for what, almost a decade? About a decade now?
6 years.
It's been a while, and you're quite well known in the IoT industry. I mean, you extend throughout most of the IoT, like vertical industries, industrial IoT, smart buildings, agriculture. So it's exciting for a lot of our clients and a lot of our users who, they have this data coming in and they're like, okay, well, how do I make use of this? How do I, get this into actionable information where my business can actually benefit from it? So the People's Network being able to easily integrate with TagoIO, I think this is going to be great for people who are building custom solutions. So to start off, I just want to let everyone know kind of what the agenda is going to be. I'm going to do a real brief overview of the Helium network. And I think most folks here on the Uplink kind of know what Helium is, but if you don't, then hopefully you will walk away from this call with a little more information and know where to find out more about us. So we're going to focus most of the time, however, discussing the integration that these two companies have built to get all of your data from Helium console and from your sensors out in the field over into TagoIO, where you can have dashboarding, you can have reports, you can have alerts, you can, effectively build up a full IoT and, applications that are completely scalable and deploy these out to either internally or to external clients. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this with us today. I'm very excited.
Yeah, me too. I really appreciate it. It's great to be here, Titi. Great.
So I guess once I go through this quick intro, we're kind of gonna walk the viewers through the process of getting the device through the Helium console, see the data flow there, and then how we tie into TagoIO. And then from that point, we'll kind of hand over to you, and you can drive that side of things and demo how the data gets built into something meaningful on your side of the fence there. So about Helium, we were founded in 2013 with a mission to make it easier to build decentralized wireless networks. Just over the past 18 months, we've just been killing it on deployment. We've built out this decentralized network that is owned by the people, and we call it the People's Network, right? At this point, it is the largest LoRaWAN network in the US and very quickly becoming the world. We have over 27,000 hotspots that have been deployed, and it's phenomenal. If you go look at our coverage map and see exactly where you can use this network without even having to roll out hotspots, gateways of your own, the coverage is out there. And especially in most major cities in the US, and quickly, we just rolled out into China. So we're going global, and it's very easy to find this coverage that's you don't have to invest necessarily in a lot of the infrastructure that you have in the past to roll out a LoRaWAN network. I was working on a school deployment up in New York City, and we were thinking we were going to have to roll gateways out there, and we got the sensors up there, and they had so much duplicate coverage that it almost didn't even make sense to put our own gateways there, which was just a beautiful sight. Over the past 8 years, we've pulled about 53 million from investors, and this is Google Ventures, or GV, First Smart Capital, Multicoin, and Union Square Ventures, and several others here. And then in about 2019, which is rather recently, we shifted over to a new form of network. And this is what we know now as the People's Network. And this is the LoRaWAN network that we're building on, which allows you to onboard any compatible LoRaWAN device. And so you can get devices, sensors of all makes and models. I mean, there's hundreds of sensors out there that you can get off the shelf, onboard in a matter of minutes onto the network, and be good to go with, for example, this integration that we're about to show you here. So since I guess it was October in 2019, we've gotten 27,000 hotspots in the field. But beyond that, I just heard we have over 200,000 hotspots or gateways that have been sold and are on their way to being deployed. And that's phenomenal. I mean, this network is, I mean, if you think the coverage is good now, it's as we extend our reach globally, this is going to be fantastic what we're able to do here. So the gateways, they give you not just extremely long range for IoT or low bandwidth devices, but they also mine cryptocurrency, which we know as HNT. And this is an incentivization of the network to help build growth. And so this allows you to earn a cryptocurrency to validate and build network coverage. And when I say validate, what that means is you can't just stack these things up in a basement, because that doesn't help provide value to the network. I mean, you have to say, okay, I'm actually providing coverage for Internet of Things devices. That's what this network was initially built for, and that's what we're pushing, to have the largest LoRaWAN network in the world that has valid coverage that can be verified, and that's what is rewarded with the HNT. And so we're seeing companies come over to deploy on the Helium network on a daily basis. We have hundreds of partners, and these are hardware partners, these are software partners. We have the incentive mechanism that is unparalleled, as far as building out network infrastructure. And I mean, not just LoRaWAN, but network infrastructure, period. At the rate of growth that we've seen, just in the past 18 months, I don't think any network has been able to scale at that rate. We have end user interfaces, we have devices, we have utilities, and we have under $1 per device per year operating fees. And for an IoT network, that is ridiculously low. And the fees are what we call data credits that are used to fund the devices and the transit of data from these devices on the network. That's a fixed rate. We have a calculator up on the site. You go there, you can plan your IoT costs, so it fits directly in your budget. There's no surprise there. You know exactly what you will be spending for X amount of devices broadcasting at this rate for this period of time. And like I said earlier, any LoRaWAN device you can run on the Helium network. So and I'd be remiss to not bring up the incredible community that is built up around the Helium network. We just have a great group of people who are very dedicated to seeing the People's Network succeed. They love being a part of what we're building here and really see the vision. And so, thank everyone out there who's been a part of this. It's been great working with everyone. As far as the continued growth, we have a number of third-party companies now that are building out hotspots. Helium, which you see here right in the center, the white with the black dot, that was our original hotspots. And then we have the Rack Miner to the right. We have Bobcat, we have Nebra, we have Syncrobit. We have a whole many more companies in the wings that are, starting through the process, which we call HIP 19. And HIP stands for Helium Improvement Proposal. And this allows a manufacturer to state their intention that they want to design and manufacture a device for the People's Network, which is cool. But you may be thinking, well, my company doesn't really have an IoT initiative at this point, which I don't know if I quite believe you saying that, because I think most companies have, at least in some form or factor, some form of IoT initiative. And it may just have to do with inventory. It may, but some of these plans are very, very advanced with what they're doing with IoT systems and on our network. But even if you don't have an IoT initiative going right now, you can still be a part of this distributed network that we're building, the People's Network. And there's a huge value in that. it's not just, okay, I want this for my sensors to carry my data, but I want to be a part of this network that we're building and be part of this infrastructure that is allowing this decentralized backbone of IoT data transit. So it's very cool. And I think companies get this. And so we have some huge companies like Nestle and Lime that are working, alongside, on the network, alongside these innovative startups that are pushing the boundaries of what we've really seen IoT and industrial IoT do up to this point. At this point, though, I'm kind of rambling a bit. I'd like to go ahead and pass this over to allow Fabio to, if you'd like to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your company, and then we can kind of walk through the demonstration here.
Yeah, for sure. Sure. So again, it's great to be here, and the list to you is really great because, again, although TAG is only, let's say, 6 years, right? I've been working this space even before IT for a while, and a lot of great ideas around, right? But the challenge is really how you make this a business, right? We see companies come in, leaving, a POC starting, and sometimes really don't move forward. It's a lot about cost, right? So I really love Helium business model. I think that's great, and that's the big why we're here, why we're doing this work with you guys. Big reason is because we also have a business model that we built through the time that's extremely aggressive in terms of cost. Like, we not even charge per device. Is more per transaction. So somehow close to you guys. So, we figure out that's really nice to have a nice application, but if it costs like $10 a month to have connectivity and a platform to ping something, show some dashboards, it is really not gonna fly. So we built here the platform from the beginning. We got our developers here and learn from customers. Really, we always say that, hey, we don't go after the competitors, try to learn from them. Let's focus with the customer. So that's why you did a lot of unique stuff. Yeah, we made some mistakes, but I think we, at the end of the day, got a very unique proposition. And then since we talked a couple of months ago, I said, wow, that would be really great to get a very nice connectivity and growing with you guys, so that we had a lot of people asking about, hey, you should integrate with Helium and so on. So now is the time. So we put our team together, and I believe we did that very quickly and secure, of course. So our team here is basically make sure the platform is working, available for anyone to build the application by themselves. We have a documentation I'm going to show later, the documentation available. And from there, the person can start small, very aggressive cost, and of course can start for free, even for the business, few dollars. And then if they need help, we can also help to build the application. So we have a team of experts to help with that. So really focus on the need of the customers. Make sure we understand, because we are learning all the time. So for us, it's a big investment. Just talk with a customer and say, wow, we learned about that. We had no idea how people could use. So, and I think Helium is huge opportunity to bring a lot of cases that I'm pretty sure UTT or me, we don't know what's coming, right? So a lot of people around say, hey, I have this idea, and now they can make this work. Again, because it's great technology, but really the price, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense at the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I think that we've kind of seen eye to eye on, throughout our talks and getting this integration going. So yeah. I'm quite excited about this. But should we jump into it at this point?
Yeah, sure. If you have your presentation, the console part, then I can get from there. What do you think?
Okay, sounds great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to jump over to the Helium console. And so what you can see here, this is a device, a TagoIO device, which I've got in hand over here. It has actually been recased into like an IP outdoor enclosure. But you can see that this is the TagoIO 2222 and controller. And what this guy is doing, we can see over on the right, we have our debug console. And then we have our information, our data packets that are flowing through. And this device is also tied, you can see, to a label at TagoIO. And so this label is bound to this associated integration, TagoIO. And so all that it takes to link your data and the flow of the data from the device that you have going in the Helium console is you go over to integrations. We have the TagoIO native integration. You click this button, it pops up, and I have to enter a TagoIO authorization token. I'm going to back out here, but once that is entered, I'm going to name this, and then I'm going to add a label. And that's the same label that I have tied to this device right here, the TagoIO. And so that will be tied from the device to the integration, and that will just pass the data over to TagoIO's side of things. And so from TagoIO's side, that's pretty much it on Helium's side.
I hope you can see the screen. So let me show very quickly about the platform itself so you can understand. So I'd rather talk about Tago, that we are here in North Carolina. We are with more than 90,000 accounts today, more than 1,000 applications in the market, more than 100 countries. So I don't think we are growing like you guys at Helium, but it's very impressive. It's a lot of work. So yeah, really crazy here. So the platform, that is what I'm going to talk here, is really about the cloud side, right? So because there are a lot of platforms, and the platform you can see from different perspectives, you can hardware and so on. So just put it very clear and talk about TagoIO to connect all devices through the cloud solution. Yeah, so the ecosystem for you is important to understand, because then say, okay, where is Helium and where is Tago, right? So you get to the end devices, so you have the gateways and you have the network. So the device, in this case, of course, LoRaWAN is connect through Helium. And as TT just mentioned, we have the native connector between Helium and TagoIO. And on TagoIO, you can build your application. And this application can be built to not only read one sensor or one family of sensor. It can even combine easily data from other kind of source of data, including another kind of connectivity, for example, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or whatever kind of connectivity you are collecting data from. Or you can also integrate these with the business or any other type of enterprise version. For example, if you're working with SAP system or Microsoft or have a local database, it's also possible. I'm going to give a little bit more details. And then TagoIO used to say that it's for developers. Okay, you can start very easy. You can get, drag and drop and make your things up and running quickly. But more important, you can really go and grow and add sophistication to your application. And then when you are ready, you can get this solution and deploy to your end users using TagoRAM. What I'm going to show you in 1 minute. So again, before I talk about to complement TT for the integration, we need to understand that we have some models. And although a lot of people know Tago because of dashboard, because kind of normal, right? Hey, you need a dashboard. That's true. But there are other things that we have. For example, device management. Extremely important, so you can control the device, enable, disable the device, create a token, name, and tags as well. Then you can store the data here at the Tago, or you can stream locally. Let's say that you say, yeah, I don't want to leave this data on Tago. I just want to leave it for 7 days. And I'm going to be downloading the data to my local database, synchronizing in real time or just in download. So you can do that with Tago. Then you have the analysis. We call analysis is where you can create script in any language to process your data. That's really cool. That's the part that you can, for example, track a truck and say, okay, the truck is here in San Francisco. What's the temperature in San Francisco now? Is raining or what's going on? So you can combine the data. You can generate reports and so on. Then, of course, you have the dashboards. So you put together the solution for the browsers, but as well for the mobile app. User management, access management, that really many platforms don't have it. So we included that. And also have the white label version, because we really want our customers to use in their brand and really say, hey, use our brand, Tago is cool, but you want to present, you want to identify with your customer. So there are basically a couple of steps. One, you build your application. So you go to the TagoIO, Tago.io, sign up for free, and create your account. You can connect up to 5 devices. You can store the data, have a certain number of transactions, input, output, analytics, and so on. So you can use device management, store the data, and you create as a developer. Then you can customize and deploy your application. Of course, if you don't want, let's say that you're a student, you are a maker, or you are inside of your company engineering side, say, no, I don't care with, let's say, the end user by now, that's fine. You can use Tago. But you can also use even the free version, by the way. You can deploy your solution for the end users. So you can manage them. For example, you can grant access. What kind of information this user going to see is going to be the manager or so on. You can customize and add brand, including, of course, the white label version. Okay, so when you talk about to deploy a solution, you focus, of course, more on the brand. So you can customize your URL. So instead of having, your colleagues, your employees going to TagoIO, they're gonna log in your portal, mycompany.com, something like that, right? So your custom domain. You can modify the colors, the brand, the preference, the message, sign up a message, and so on. And you can have something like we are showing here, right? You can do this. By the way, you can do this all by yourself. Even the free version, you can do a lot of stuff. You cannot have your custom domain completely without TagoIO, but you can have very close to this with the free version. Other things that you have is opportunity to allow you to generate things like generate reports, like this PDF. You have some examples in your community. You can use forms, because at the end of the day, I always say that it's nice to have a dashboard where you have dials and charts. But for us, we learned with a customer that that's okay, but we really had to add, for example, things like forms, so that users can add, for example, their name, email, picture, upload reports. So basically, it's a portal that you can build and use for more than just data visualization. Other feature that we add as well that I think is really important is native integration with Google Analytics or other CRM. So you can track how users are using your application. Other feature that we just released that we believe is really cool. We work so hard for that, multi-language. So now you can deploy your solution in any language, English, Italian, Portuguese, Japanese, because you can create your dictionary. And you're going to create the keys and the value. And you can allow your users to select, so they can go to the mobile app and say, okay, I have here Portuguese, Italian, and English. They select the language. If you create the translation, that's it. You can upload the file and it'll be working. SSO as well, we create, and you have the guideline there. You can do by yourself. And the mobile app. We have the mobile app version free, but also it's possible to customize and deploy the mobile app. All right, that was quick, of course. Most of this, or frankly, everything is there in our website. Let's talk a little bit about what's not in the website, right? For example, this part here, we have more details, but what TT mentioned, okay, how do I finalize the integration from Helium to Tago? So basically, after you have done what TT just show us, you go to our portal. I'm going to show live in 1 minute, but you go there, basically you have 2 steps. You create the authorization and copy and paste this authorization that has been created here in your console at Helium. You just need one for everything. Let's say that you have 5 devices or 5,000 devices. If you want, you can create just one authorization. And then you need to enter the EUI for each device. Here we show manually, but of course you can upload a big list of devices with thousands of sensors if you want. But basically, these are the 2 steps. You select Helium portal inside the Tago and add this authorization. Let me see. Okay, so let me show live here how things works. So you can, okay, so when you sign up, you go inside of Tago and you can see the home page almost like that, okay? Here you have the key functions that is part of a tag. So again, it's very complete. For example, you have the devices. Here is where you're going to manage those devices. For example, this account here is from TT. He just creates some devices, and the devices that he has there right now send the data to us. Okay, so how does it work? You can come here to edit this device, select Helium, and then you can create the authorization here. Very easy. I can click here, but I'm going to pass this. Basically, just click there and get the token, and that's it. And then you can now come and select the device. You have hundreds of devices here that are ready to be shown and used by the public. However, you can even create your own connector. Let's say that you are designing your sensor with Raspberry Pi, Arduino. You can create your parse, and you can even create a connector. And when it's done, if you want to make it public, you open a ticket and say, hey, I want this to make public. And that's okay. That's why you are getting a nice number here, because we are not like a huge company doing hundreds of these. So we are partnering with a company, and they say, yeah, I love this, and I want to make my connector public. So if you click in one sensor, for example, let's say you get here a Dragino sensor, just one example. Okay, you just need to give a name like my Dragino, and then enter the AOY. Okay, just a fake for a moment. You have a lot of options, even the options for that you can create by yourself. In this case, is ready to go with a version of this Dragino. Then you create the device. Okay. Oops, for some reason, everything here. Makes it a little bit more number. Sorry. Should it be real? Would it be easier? I don't know if it's going to work. Maybe I need it. Yeah, maybe it's going to work. Okay, so what it's doing here now, yeah, the serial number is already used, so I use it as an example, but basically here, that's going to check and create the device, the token authorization, and because you already connect the authorization with Helium, every time that your account with this EUI send the data to us, it's gonna connect and make this data available in this area here. That's the bucket that I'm gonna show you 1 minute. If you want to come here and don't find your connector ready to go, let's say your device in this list, because we know there are thousands of sensors, so you try to catch up with them, but you can get Helium. And when you do that, we don't include a parse. We don't extract. You can create a parse by yourself. Just get the raw data, and you'll have documentation about how to create this parse. If you have a question, you always can come here and use our help. Now, helper, I mean. So we have the buckets. That's where we store the data. For example, Dragino, you send a lot of data here. Okay, so you can click here. You can see the variables that the Dragino that the TT has turned on right now. You can see all the variables. You can define how much time you're going to keep the data. You can delete the data, and so on. Other thing that's very important that I mentioned before, the analysis, that's basically where you can add the code. So again, if you program in JavaScript or Python, you can run on Tago. So you create your code, you store here. You can even see in the console, things happen in real time. If you want not to run these on Tago, you want to run your own computer. Let's say that you have the code already done in C, C#. That's okay. You have a way to connect your server with this one so that when the data arrive here, trigger your analysis, you do your magic on your side and send it back to us, the result. So that's is really, really cool. Then you have actions. So you can create actions for send SMS, push a notification, post data in another servers, things like that. So just because the time is short, I'm gonna just focus on the last items here. We have the run. Remember I mentioned about that? That's really, really cool because that's where you're gonna create your deployment. Again, even a free version, you can do a lot of things, okay? In this case here, for example, you have the Helium system that TT creates. So he put a very nice background here for the sign up page. Okay, it's easy to upload this. You can use our file system here to upload the files or can connect to your Dropbox, but you can change the colors, the logo by yourself. You just press a button to generate your solution right away. So if you come here and visit this page, you'll be like that. Oops, I'm right inside. If you go outside, that's how it looks like. So you can change a lot of things. You just see Tago here because that's, let's say, it's not the full white label version, but it is very close. So that's really cool. Okay. Other thing that you have is the user management. You can see all the users, who are the users, when they are logging, things like that. So, oops, I think I kick out. Yeah, just a second. Need to move here because I think it was disconnected on that access. Just a second. I need to access the system here to get Travis account again.
It kicked you out when you were showing us the login screen here?
Yeah, yeah, now I'm back. I hope. Yes, I'm back.
Good deal.
Yeah, because I'm as a super admin, so that's the price. Okay, so, okay. So you can see your users, you can create access. There are a lot of details, but there are a lot of documentation for that. The last part is, let's say, what a lot of people are looking for is really the dashboards, right? So, hey, I want to take a look at the dashboards and so on. So you can build a dashboard like that. These dashboards are very easy to put together. That's very traditional. And when you do that, you can grant access for people to see in real time as a user. So they don't need to come here. So you deploy this using run. Other thing that you can do is use what you call the blueprint dashboards that give you a little bit more parameters. For example, I just created this here before our meeting here, where you can have an image in the background. You have more control for variables. There are a lot of features. For example, if the Dragino, I think your Dragino TT is send the temperature in Celsius, then you can use a formula here to change it to F, right? You have the forms. So there are a lot of features. Again, it's just so exciting, but don't have time to show off them. So just want to show the last part here, going to account as an end user. Let's see if it works now as an end user. Yes. So this is the page that your users would access. Okay, for example, that Dragino that show up there is here. Okay, so the user, you're not going to see buckets, devices, and so on. So they can see all the dashboards here. So they're going to access, and you can control what they're going to see. You can add one dashboard for a lot of devices. You can even do things like that. For example, I just iframe the page from you guys here inside. It's just a few clicks. Okay, so it's here inside of the application, and that's really cool because we're talking with a customer. They say, "Hey, I love this. I want to put my manual here inside. I want to add my help desk. They can open a ticket. Can you do that?" So yeah, we can do that. So anyone now can use the options you have to create additional buttons, not only dashboards. So it's much more than dashboards.
And I got to interject here and say it does look really cool on the mobile app when you're running the coverage, on your or within Run. So.
Yeah, so there are a lot of things to share, but because we are more focused on the integration, I want to make sure people understand the steps to integrate uplink and downlink as well. If you want to send a command down, you just need to define a variable and click the button, send it downlink, and control the load in the other side. Everything in real time. Yeah, so I think that's the key thing I'd like to show just because of the time, TT. So it's
I think this is fantastic. I would like it to be made clear that on this Dragino device, because that was one of the devices that you natively support in TagoIO, that you didn't have to define any of these variables that this device is sending over. It picked up on all of these, and we were able to just select those from a dropdown when we were defining the widgets on the dashboard.
Yeah. So in this case here, the connector was already created. So you just select from the list. Again, you go to the list, right? Select your device and then turn on, and you're gonna see all the variables. So if you pick one of these one here, whatever you pick, so okay, I'm gonna pick this one here. You just register, and if you send the water, temperature, consumption, signal, RSSI, all these are gonna show up for you in dashboard. That just do your calculation, just to display the variable.
Yeah. And what we can do, we can go to the live tab up at the top, and you can see this data that's coming through.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Let's show that off real quick.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's a good one. So if you go inside of the device, we have here emulator that you can emulate the data, like simulate with input. You can have your parse, but then you have this part that is the live inspector. So basically what it does is show the data that's coming. Yeah, just got here. So we don't keep this in memory, of course, because it's huge amount of thousands, hundreds of thousands of devices we have. But that's great to debug. So I think it's keep here for a couple of minutes, then you need to reset, but is in real time. So the data there, you can investigate what data you just got it. Of course, you can stop and analyze the data, can download and send it to the developer. Say, hey, why the parse is not working, right? You say, I was not expecting this variable and so on. So if you see here, data is coming and is connecting from Helium, the payload is here, the frequency is here. So you have all the information. You can just trash this information if you want. I mean, most of the information, because you don't want to have millions or of register that you don't use and pay for that. So you see what's coming, say, okay, I just need temperature. And then you fit out the temperature. So you have a lot of parameters to do that. Yeah, that's really cool.
And then in addition, I mean, you can do all sorts of functionality that doesn't necessarily have to be tied back directly to code. If you want to do alerting, like based on outliers of incoming data or, actions. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, you can do actions, and the action is very powerful. For example, let's create an action here. Let's call test. You can create the action for variable or resources like, let's say that a new user just create an account for you in your application. You can receive a notification, new user. You can have a schedule, okay? In this schedule type of action, let's say you're gonna send a email for Fabio. TagoIO. Just one example. I need to do that to create this. So basically, you can trigger this from different perspective, but I can say, hey, let's do this every Monday, weekdays at 5. What time is this? Okay, now, right? So you define the time. We repeat this every day. So if I save that, I'm gonna send an email to myself here. In this case, just one example. All this time. If you want to do something different, like, hey, if your temperature is higher than 55 degrees, do that. If my device doesn't send the data for more than 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or a few hours, send me a notification, alert me. So, and by the way, one important thing is that you can combine these with the analysis. That's really the killer. Because then you say, okay, I want every day at this time, run one analysis. And this analysis can be like downlink the data to device. So see how cool is this? What is this gonna do is that all day of a weekday at this time, you can download the data to the through downlink. For example, can turn the pump on or off, or the irrigation pump, or any control that you have, right? In this case, the Dragino, you just had no time to go into the details here, but you got the picture, right? So you can combine the things. And everything that you see here for the developer, you can put in a dashboard and allow your user to do that, okay? The user doesn't need to come here, because that's what customers ask us, say, hey, that's nice, but how my customer can do that? Okay, you can put a slide there, check a box with the form, and behind the scenes, that data will upload this for your end user. So your end user just needs to come here in their dashboard, and maybe you just have an option here. Somehow you can add here the day of the week, the time, you have a calendar, you have a clock, you can enter here and take the action from here. So you don't need to ask them to do that on the TagoIO site. Yeah, Titi, you tell me, I can talk a lot here, a lot of
No, no,
features.
no, no, and I appreciate it. I'm sorry to prod you on a couple of these things, but no, some of this functionality is very, very powerful, and I wanted it to kind of be made example of here. But there's another thing that I wanted to talk about real quick, and that's the concept of tags within the environment. And so I can have, I guess, what classifications of devices or different types of devices, and then treat those as a group when I operate on them, like for a dashboard or for a report, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So we have tags for everything, for dashboards, for device, for buckets, for analysis, okay? And these tags can be anything. We have some that are standard that show things like the networks being connected, okay, like connected view for sure. And then you can add the custom tags. Okay, so you go to this device and they say, okay, let me add a tag here. And this tag is gonna see like customer, and this customer is for a test that I'm doing for Target in the supermarket, okay? Doesn't matter, it can be anything. And then you can have everyone, all these devices from Target in your pilot, for example, associated. Then you want to delete all these devices. You want to count, you want to know how many data they are consuming because you're gonna charge a Target, say, hey, how much I'm paying for that. So you have this information and you can do whatever you want, like, hey, Target now are gonna shut down the proof of a concept. Okay, you disable all devices where customer equal Target. So that's really fundamental kind of control to scale up application as well. So you get easy here, you don't get lost. Have the search, right? So you can do a lot of things like search and so on.
Well, this is great. If anyone, you want to go ahead and see if there's any questions, do a little Q&A here. There's a question here. How long does Tago save the data?
That's a great question. Yeah, Titi, feel free to make the question there. I would open here, but it's hard for me.
Yeah, not a problem.
That's great. Hey, about how long is up to you. So our business model, by the way, is open tago.io/pricing. You see there that you can add more, increase the limits of what you want. So you want to take the data and keep it forever, you can keep it. But of course, if it passes the limit, you need to pay for that, right? So you can define how long. For example, I work here and I define that this Dragino tag is going to be kept here for 1 month. If you want 1 week, you can do that. After this, we're going to delete this for you. So you don't need to run anything specific. If you want to keep it forever, you can do it. You can do a backup meanwhile, things like that, and delete.
There's another question that came in asking if you could kind of go over in detail the pricing logic.
Which logic?
The pricing structure, I believe.
Yeah, pricing, right?
I believe that's what they're asking about here.
Yeah, so if you go to TagoIO/pricing, we have our model. You can start for free, 5 devices, 5 dashboards. You can add end users. There's a lot of things, and the date to be limited to 30 days. Okay. Other than that, you have the starter and the scale version. The starter is basically similar, but it goes up to 100 devices, and you have even the subdomain included. So you can add your brand at no additional cost. Our brand will be there small yet. If you want to go beyond or need to go beyond 100 devices, then you would go to the scale. And we have a lot of features available. On top of this plan, I mean, with this plan, you have some transactions included, okay? You can add more. For example, if you are sending like, something once an hour, a data, like temperature once an hour, you send one variable. So you send one. So that's, you can send up to 5,000 an hour, that's already included. If you want to increase, you need to increase, you pay more $20. So we have this available price here, and similar to Helium, we have an estimator as well. You can define how many devices, how many variables you're going to send, and you can estimate the cost per month. And there is no long-term contract, is a month. If you need to downgrade next week, you can just downgrade next month. I mean, you do this provision for the whole month. That's it.
And so if someone is just, getting an idea off the ground or getting something built up with your free plan, they can really go a long way there.
Yeah, they can do a lot, exactly. Not only the dashboard and so on, but even the run, they can customize it. But I see great dashboards and people call us and say, hey, I want to see if I'm doing this right. And they really like to talk to customers. It's not like, hey, they are free, we don't pay attention. We really invest a lot in support to make sure that even those working the free really understand what we are proposing here, because it's different from others. And we frankly are giving a lot, but we are getting a lot from the customers. So we like to give this because we get a lot of feedbacks, frankly.
Cool. Let's see. We have a couple more questions. Do you have multi-region dashboard like EU, AM, AP?
Yeah, we are increasing the number of regions now. So we are working now to have this in Ireland, and then Asia and Latin America still this year, not only to comply, but also to get better, let's say, faster time of response, right, when you have this regionally. So we are working on this right now.
Okay. And two other parts of this question. It supports multi-tenant infrastructure and SSO.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that is one thing very interesting here that you can do. We have profiles. So if you go to the account, in this case here, you go to your account, you can add the profiles. For example, in this case, TT has this account, for example, just Helium, but he can come here and add additional profile. Okay, when he add one, I don't know if you'll be able to do that, but I think it's gonna work. Let's say that I'm doing a project for somebody else. For example, we have a company like Ford, GM, Fiat, and others that use our system because integrated is using. So they like to do things like that. Let me see if it's gonna work. So yeah, it will work. Okay, I mean, work with this account. So in this case here, it has been created a sub account that is just for Ford. So you can have multiple accounts and you can have a collaboration. For example, in Ford, they're going to have just my integrator that is working for Ford. And these integrators are not going to be able to join the project in Helium. So in this case, you can have multi-tenants. So that's one way that our customer really like it. And at the end of the day, you see, you just come here and you can easily navigate. So if I am a system integrator that I do a project for Target, another one for Ford, another one for another supermarket, I want to separate, you can do it. But you don't need to do that. If you want to keep everything here in your own, that's fine. But some people really like to separate things.
And can private Tectelic NS used for integration?
Which one?
Can private, I don't know if I follow this. Can private Tectelic NS used for integration? The network server, is that?
Yeah, I don't know. We have one thing here that is really, I believe, is really unique. You can create your connector. Okay, so we have a lot of connectors with you. If there is a gateway from Tectel to want to integrate directly, it's possible to do. And if you are creating your gateway, I don't know if that's making much sense, but let's say you want to create like TCP, UP, or UDP middleware, you can create a connector, have documentation for that, and you can combine the data. So I believe the answer here is, if you understood it well, is yes. You can have more than one connector.
Okay, can you show where the documentation is for building an integration for a device that isn't already built in, like something that doesn't have a particular template, I guess? For example, they have a Dragino LDD S20, a liquid level sensor, just for the sake of an example here.
Yeah, no, that's great. And by the way, we really encourage you to try to create that, or you can open a ticket. When you open the ticket, we see, oh, there is this new connecting people is asking. We try to do that, and at no cost. So that's good for us, right? But you can come here on the help, click the question mark, and forget that, like payload parser, building your own parser. Okay, so here you have the documentation showing how things work inside the Tago, how you parse the data, and then how you can create your connector. I think connector is here. Connector overview, yes. Then here shows how to create the connector. Okay, so basically you have the sensor, the network, in this case here is Helium, and then it's coming to the connector. So that's important parse is the basic things. It's just to parse the data. You can do 1, 2 times, 3 times. But if you want to have a connector and create for yourself, you're going to have a private connector that will be located here in the list, like my connectors. It's private, only you see that. And by the way, you have a customer that has like 100,000 devices, and they don't want that connect to be public because they don't want to sell hardware. They sell the whole solution, and their connector is hidden here in their own account.
And one thing that's also very nice is kind of throughout this interface, you will find, I guess, example code or example templates that you can pull up from a dropdown to kind of get you started in the right direction.
If, for example, if you work with analysis, other than GitHub in our community, we have a list of the snippets here. For example, I'm sorry, how to generate a report or create a geofence. I didn't show anything about the geofence. I think that's really a great part. So you can come here and just download. I'm not going to be on the details here, but for example, you want to push data in MQTT, you want to generate a PDF report, a CSV report, export email list. There are a lot of things. So we have the example, like this one here, by the way, download data to your own board is feasible just through this example.
And someone asked if it supports SSO. We talked about that and kind of went over that earlier.
It's only on the scale version. We are not able to put this on the free.
Okay.
But it's totally, because normally it's enterprise. And by the way, SSO, we really talk about the SSO, that the enterprise version. It's not only Google, and that's I don't not even remember where is that now. I think is here, the SSO.
Yeah.
Integration, it's here. Okay, so we have an out connection for ping, one login, Google as well, Okta. So that's really, I mean, we have some examples here ready to go, and you can do it by yourself.
Right, and I've got a question here. This is a Helium question. Who they're asking, how do you pay for connections in Europe? How do I buy data credits? You can buy data credits through your console, through the Helium console, console.helium.com, and it will, at the very top, there's an icon that will take you directly to being able to refill data credits.
While you check, just if people has question about usage, is possible if you go to your account, you can see how much you are consuming, data input, output, how many analyses you're running per hour, or storage. You can see everything here, in real time. I think every hour is update. And just to have idea, we have some customers that pay a few cents per sensor per month to have a very serious application running in real time. Some can pay dollars per sensor because they're very big assets. So they are really, it's matched very well their business model. So I really encourage you to make your work in the TagoIO/pricing and run your simulation. And if you have a question, please really go to our community or feel free to open a ticket here, support, make your question. And when you start to type here, we show some suggestion, right? So it can help you to go faster and figure out the answer. Maybe it's already here. For example, how to integrate with Helium, right? So, hey, how I integrate this with Helium? So it's already here.
There we go.
Yeah, you go to the community and then you make your question or comments there. Yeah, so people ask about how to do that.
Well, good deal. I think we're right at the top of the hour here, or even running just a hair over. I want to thank everyone for joining us today and checking out this cool integration that we have. I hope everyone who has something going on Helium has a chance to check TagoIO out. I mean, it's a very powerful integration, and I think that I mean, you can build full applications on this thing, and it's not going to take hiring a team of developers and really really digging your feet in on code. I mean, I mean this dashboard, for example, you put this up right before we got on this call, right? So.
But here, so again, I really encourage you guys to go to the Tago.io, the website, because when you go there, Tago.io, you can really start right away, right? So that's what I suggest people, and they'll have examples, documentation, and we're really willing to talk to people, hear you, right? Really want to understand. And our CSM, customer support manage, they're very serious to really hear your ideas. If you can help somehow, let us know.
Awesome.
All right. Perfect.
Well, let's see. I'm going to throw this up. If you do not have an account on console.helium.com, please go over there, check it out. Come over to Helium and check out what we're doing. It's exciting. We've got some amazing people over at Helium, and we're working with some great partners like Fabio and his crew over there. So if you have any questions, join our Discord. There's going to be someone on it all day, every day. So, and someone willing to talk to you. And so please join us. If you have any questions, that's where you can find me. I go by Teague over on our Helium Discord, and I look forward to seeing you on the next uplink. Thanks a lot, folks.
Thank you all.